Right now, while you're watching this video, there are places on Earth where time has literally stopped. Not a metaphor, not an exaggeration. There are creatures living in these places that survived asteroid impacts, ice ages, and the extinction of the dinosaurs, and didn't even flinch. The number one place on our list is so ancient that when it first appeared, Earth didn't even have oxygen yet, at all. You ready? Let's go. Number 10. The Namib Desert. Picture this. You're standing on a red sand dune. Complete silence all around you. And then it hits you. The sand beneath your feet is older than the first flower, older than the first bird, older than almost everything you know about life on this planet. The Namib Desert in Africa is the oldest desert on Earth. When the first winds rose here and began shaping the first dunes, tyrannosauruses were still roaming the ground. Dune 45, one of the most famous dunes here, shifts just a few feet every year. But its shape hasn't changed in thousands of years. A massive red wave, frozen in time. The local bushmen don't approach certain dunes after sunset. They say spirits live there, spirits of ancestors so ancient they have no names. It's hard to laugh at that when you're standing here, realizing the sand witnessed the very dawn of mammals. But if you think an ancient desert is as wild as it gets, the next place will stop you cold. It's not a landscape, it's a living thing, and it's 200 million years old. Number 9. The Ginkgo tree. August 6, 1945. Hiroshima. An atomic bomb vaporizes the city within a mile of the epicenter. Stone, metal, people, everything disappears. But one tree standing just under a mile from the blast chars and survives. A year later, it puts out new leaves. The Japanese weren't surprised. They already knew. The Ginkgo biloba doesn't know how to die. This tree was growing in the gardens of dinosaurs 200 million years ago. When scientists first found its leaf imprints in Jurassic rock formations, they couldn't believe their eyes. The leaves were identical to the ones growing in the parks of Tokyo today. Exact same shape. 200 million years, zero changes. Asteroid impact, ice ages, nuclear explosion. The Ginkgo just shakes off the dust and keeps growing. Next time you walk past one of these trees, stop for a second. You're looking at an eyewitness to the age of dinosaurs. But there's an entire island where witnesses like that number in the thousands. An island that broke away from the rest of the world 180 million years ago and has been living by its own rules ever since. Number 8. Madagascar. In the 1960s, French naturalist Jean-Jacques Peter first described the Madagascar tomato frog. His colleagues looked at his drawings and shook their heads. This can't be real. Then they looked at its DNA. The closest living relative of this frog existed 200 million years ago, on the other side of the planet. Madagascar isn't just an island, it's an experiment. 180 million years ago, it broke off from Africa and drifted away. Evolution here went its own direction. No outside predators, no competition, no contact with the rest of the world. The result? 90% of the animals on this island exist nowhere else on Earth. When lemurs stare at you with those enormous eyes, you're looking at creatures from a different reality, and because they literally are from a different reality. And the carnivorous pitcher plants here have barely changed in 100 million years. They still lure insects with sweet nectar and drown them in digestive acid, elegant and ruthless, just like the Mesozoic era. All of that is mind-blowing. But the next place isn't about animals or plants. It's about the creatures that literally created the air you're breathing right now. Number 7. Shark Bay, Australia. What has changed Earth more than anything else in its entire history? Not asteroids, not volcanoes. Bacteria. 1961. Australian geologist Brian Logan is wading through the shallow waters of Shark Bay when he notices strange rocky mounds on the seafloor. They look like mushrooms. They look like stones, but up close, they're alive. He sends samples to a lab. The answer comes back and turns everything upside down. These are stromatolites, colonies of cyanobacteria, the very same microorganisms that billions of years ago started producing oxygen and literally changed the entire chemistry of this planet forever. Without them, there would be no fish, no dinosaurs, no you, not a single breath. You might think, okay, just some bacteria on the ocean floor, big deal. But here's what really gets you. These exact same structures have been found in rock formations that are 3.5 billion years old. They look absolutely identical. These organisms never evolved. Why change when you're already perfect? When you swim here, you are surrounded by the architects of our world. They did their job billions of years ago, and they're still quietly living on the floor of this Australian bay, completely unaware that without them, none of us would exist. But if you want to see a place where oxygen isn't needed at all, where life gets by without it, just like at the very beginning of everything, the next number will blow your mind. Number 6. The dry valleys of Antarctica. NASA tests its Mars rovers here, not because it's trendy, but because the landscape is literally indistinguishable from the red planet. The dry valleys of Antarctica haven't seen rainfall in 14 million years. The wind here doesn't just blow, it cuts. Up to 200 miles per hour. No snow, no ice, just bare rock and absolute crushing silence. You'd think nothing could survive here. But in the 1960s, scientists took samples from the surface of local rocks, inside living bacteria, not on the outside, inside the rock. They had literally grown into the stone to hide from the wind and cold, millions of years inside a rock. And scattered across these valleys are mummified seals that wandered in by mistake and died. One of them has been lying there for 1,000 years. It looks like it died yesterday. The cold and dryness preserved it better than any museum ever could. And here's the final gut punch. At the bottom of Lake Vonda, even though the surface is frozen solid, the temperature reaches plus 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Down there live microorganisms that need no light, no air, nothing we consider necessary for life. Time here didn't just stop, it froze to death, and life found a way anyway. Now, from the coldest place on Earth to islands where something might actually eat you, and where the predator looks exactly the same as it did 100 million years ago. Number 5. The Komodo Islands, 1912. A Dutch colonial official in Indonesia keeps hearing rumors from local fishermen about a mysterious island with giant land crocodiles. He sends a small expedition to investigate. The team comes back with sketches and measurements of creatures nobody in the scientific world had ever documented. 10-foot lizards that moved like something out of another era. Komodo dragons haven't changed in 40 million years. They hunt exactly the same way their ancestors did in the Miocene. They stalk their prey for hours. They bite with venomous teeth. And then they just follow, no rush, no emotion. The venom does all the work. You might think, all right, it's a big reptile, so what? But here's what actually gets under your skin. In 2006, scientists discovered that female Komodo dragons can reproduce without a male. Parthenogenesis, reproduction without fertilization. This mechanism appeared hundreds of millions of years ago. It still works today. The Komodo dragon literally doesn't need a partner to continue its species, just like the most ancient reptiles before it. Looking a Komodo dragon in the eye is the moment you realize this isn't an animal from a zoo. This is a living dinosaur that couldn't care less about you. But there's a place where dinosaurs didn't walk, they grew. An entire archipelago of plants that remember the Jurassic period. And the only way to get there is by plane. Number 4. New Caledonia, 1994. Australian park ranger David Noble is rappelling down a rope into a remote canyon in the mountains west of Sydney. At the bottom, he finds a tree. He shows it to scientists. They don't believe it. This plant was considered extinct 200 million years ago. They find an entire grove. It's immediately classified, so nobody can steal the seeds. The Wollemi pine is the exception. New Caledonia is the rule. When the supercontinent Gondwana broke apart, this Pacific island carried an entire library of ancient plant life with it. 3/4 of the plant species here exist nowhere else on Earth. The Araucaria, a conifer from the Jurassic period, was growing here when brachiosaurs were walking the ground. Its seeds have been found fossilized inside dinosaur stomachs. It's still here today, standing on the cliffs, looking out at the ocean, waiting for something no one can explain. Impressed? Just wait. The next 2 places aren't on the surface of the Earth at all. They're in the places sunlight has never once reached. Number 3. The ocean trenches. Nearly 7 miles straight down. Pressure of 1,000 atmospheres, enough to crush a submarine like a paper cup. Permanent darkness, near freezing temperatures. The conditions in the Mariana Trench haven't changed in hundreds of millions of years, and life is absolutely thriving down there. Xenophyophores, single-celled organisms the size of a coin, build tiny shelters from grains of sand, exactly the same way their ancestors did in the Cretaceous period. Giant amphipods the size of house cats feed on carcasses drifting down from above, just like their ancestors fed on the remains of ancient sea reptiles. And inside the black smokers, underwater hydrothermal vents, reaching temperatures of up to 750 degrees Fahrenheit, live bacteria that need no sunlight at all. They feed on chemical reactions, exactly like the very first life forms on Earth. This isn't the bottom of the ocean. This is a time machine that never stops running. But a time machine is just an idea. What comes next is an actual living creature that scientists declared extinct 66 million years ago, until it turned up alive in a fishing net. Number 2. The depths of the world's oceans. December 22, 1938, South Africa. Museum curator Marjorie Courtney Latimer is sorting through a fisherman's catch, and she sees something strange, a large blue scaly fish with what look like limbs instead of fins. She writes to a scientist friend. He reads the letter and drops the phone. It was a coelacanth, a fish that science had declared extinct along with the dinosaurs, alive. It has rudimentary lungs. Its fins move like legs, front left and back right at the same time, just like walking. It showed us exactly how life crawled out of the water onto land. A living textbook of evolution that spent 66 million years on the ocean floor and never told a soul. Somewhere in the deep right now, a sperm whale is hunting a giant squid. That battle has been happening for millions of years, long before humans existed. We know almost nothing about it. The ocean keeps its secrets better than we think. And yet there is one place on this planet that holds more secrets than all the world's oceans combined. The oldest living place on Earth. The absolute champion. Number 1. Lake Baikal, 1977. Soviet scientists aboard the research submersible Pegasus descend to the bottom of Lake Baikal for the very first time. They expected cold, dark emptiness. What they found instead was an entire world. Creatures nobody had ever seen. Life forms that didn't fit into any known classification. Lake Baikal is 25 million years old, the oldest lake on the planet. Most lakes disappear within tens of thousands of years. Baikal didn't just survive, it got deeper and richer. 1,700 species of animals. 70% of them exist nowhere else on Earth. The Baikal seal, the only freshwater seal in the world, arrived here millions of years ago when the lake was still connected to the ocean. Since then, it has lived in complete isolation, evolving entirely separately from all its relatives. The Golomyanka, a transparent fish with no scales, gives birth to live young at a depth of nearly a mile. Its ancestors swam here when Siberia was a tropical jungle. But the most incredible thing is the bottom. Beneath the water lies a layer of sediment nearly 5 miles thick. Every single inch represents thousands of years of Earth's history. Climate catastrophes, eruptions, shifts between entire geological eras, all of it recorded here. This isn't just a lake. It's the diary of our planet spanning 25 million years, and we're only just beginning to read it. We just traveled through 200 million years without leaving Earth. And here's what hits hardest. The life in these places didn't just survive, it flat out refused to change. And if this video opened your eyes to something new, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps the channel keep making journeys like this one. See you next time.